Hey everyone, welcome to Nick Nack's Corner. I'm Nick, you're in my corner. Today we're going to talk about Stephen King's The Outsider. Fantastic read. This is the first standalone new King book I've read. I read Doctor Sleep, but it was a sequel to The Shining and felt a lot like The Shining, so I thought maybe he went back to like old style of writing he used to do for it or something like that. And so this was a new one for me. And I loved the cover ever since I saw it, and the components inside the book is fantastic. Um, it is a procedural detective story. That's what a procedural is. And it is detective story with supernatural elements because it's Stephen King, and it's really great. If you haven't read Mr. Mercedes trilogy yet, I would highly recommend it. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to now because my favorite character in the book is Holly, and she comes from Finders Keepers, and a lot of the story is spoiled in Mr. Mercedes. The Mr. Mercedes trilogy is spoiled in The Outsider due to going into background and stuff. But if you don't want to read Mr. Mercedes and you just want to read The Outsider, you don't have to worry about spoilers. It's just extra information for you. And other than that, I thought it was a fantastic read. I really loved it. We follow Detective Ralph Anderson as he feels he has all the answers to make an arrest for a well-loved citizen. He makes this arrest out of the sickening feeling of the murder of this child that happens, and Stephen King goes into graphic content about what happened. Stephen King has a love of talking about bodily fluids, and if you've read King, you know exactly what I mean. He is poetic about it. He loves to write about it. And this book is no different, only he uses it in the crime scene. And it is a horrific crime scene. And that's probably why the cop feels justified in doing what he's doing, because he feels he has enough evidence. But soon he finds it's not quite the case, and he has to go down a different path than what he ever thought he was going to. And I don't want to go into it because it is a fantastic read and you should explore it. There is a TV show out for it right now. And so far, the show is doing a great job at adapting it. They've made a few minor changes to backgrounds and small things, but that's quite all right. It's TV, it's an adaptation, things are going to change. This was my 7th Stephen King book, and Stephen King is quickly becoming my favorite author, one of my favorite authors. I don't think he'll ever overtake Tolkien because Tolkien, I love him. He's there forever in my heart. But King is coming up as a very close second. He's doing a great job. Everything I've picked up by him so far has been great. Now, mind you, I've been hitting his hits. I haven't read any of his off-kiltered stuff, and when I get there, we'll see if I'm disappointed or not. But for now, I'm enjoying the ride, and it's going well. And I just love the character work in this book and the world he created around it, and it has a fantastic payoff. People think he fumbles the end in this, but I don't think he does. I think it has a really good payoff. They get there, they find out the information, they tell you all the stuffs, and it's great. I like it. I like it myself. I really enjoyed it. It's not as much horror as is a detective story, and I've been really digging procedurals and detective stories lately, so, it's right up my alley. King is not pigeonholed into horror, but we'll talk about that on another episode of something. So for this, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I really enjoy it. I'm currently watching the show, like I said, and I'm also enjoying that. I'm really like this book. I was going into it thinking that maybe it wasn't going to be as great as it could be or as good as his older stuff, but I think it was just as good as some of his older stuff. It's definitely going to be probably sitting somewhere in my top 10 once I have more than 10 books of his read, but we'll see. If you're a Stephen King fan, you should pick this book up. If you like detective works and procedurals and don't mind a little bit of gruesome detail at the beginning to kind of push the story forward, you would probably really enjoy this book. And if you've seen the HBO show and you're thinking you might want to read the story, definitely pick up the book. It is a fantastic read with beginning, middle, and end, and I could not recommend it enough. So that is everything for today. Thank you for coming to the corner. Next month, I am doing The Last Wish and the Sword of Destiny conversations for my book club, and I am going to continue reading the rest of the series in February and try and get as much of it done as I can in that month. So if anyone wants to join me for that ride, there will be a link down below to join up, and there's also a link up right now for Pet Semetary if you want to join that, and we're going to also be voting on 4 King books. I'm going to make a separate video about that, but I will also put that video linked up there as well. Thank you very much, and have yourselves a great day.